striking the Safer at Home extension.
The extension was intended to last through May 26th, and now it's considered to be over. We have team coverage of these developments today. Our Amy DuPont is live with reaction from state leaders. But we're going to begin with our political reporter, Jason Calvi, with what exactly this ruling entails.
Well, I just got off the phone with law professor Ed Falone. He actually ran for the state Supreme Court, and he tells me his reading of this order is effective immediately. Safer at Home is struck down by the state Supreme Court. There was some early confusion of if whether it would still extend out for 6 days to give the legislature and the governor some time to negotiate a deal. But according to Professor Falone and according to another reading that I just did of the text, it looks like this is struck down effective immediately.
This is not March. This is not April.
Excuse me.
8 days of waiting.
The understanding is that the legislature and the governor would actually have to work that out. And so as we go into the next phase of this, then whatever set of rules that we live under will be rules that both the Republican-controlled legislature and the Democratic governor agreed to.
It's going to be unfortunate when you talk about public health response to a pandemic. You want to see uniformity, you want to see certainty, you want to see rules that apply across all of our 72 counties and not have this sort of balkanized response because people move, people cross borders.
Milwaukee County leaders are already preparing.
We weren't just going to wait until they make a decision and then scramble.
It comes as the new Marquette poll finds 69% of Wisconsinites think the closures are appropriate. And this was a 4-3 majority opinion. One of the conservative justices sided with the liberals, saying the Republican legislature did not have standing to bring this lawsuit. It is effective immediately, according to Professor Falone. And what goes into this is an issue of the rulemaking authority. The state law says that the Department of Health Services can forbid public gatherings as well as close schools and the like. And what the Supreme Court says in this majority opinion is that the Department of Health Services, the Secretary designee, exceeded her authority, and therefore this is unlawful. And anyone who was charged or arrested because of the Safer at Home order, those penalties are null and void. We're live in Wauwatosa. Jason Calvi, Fox 6 News.
The court's words tonight: unlawful, invalid, and unenforceable. Jason, thank you.
Reaction to the Supreme Court decision coming into our newsroom, as you might expect. Our Amy DuPont joining us live now from Menominee Falls, where that reaction appears to be split along party lines.
Well, Stephanie, that 4-3 ruling is a defeat for Democrats. Republicans who control the legislature continue to chip away at the Democratic governor's authority. Now, Republicans worried about the economic fallout of the Safer at Home extension asked the Supreme Court to block that order, arguing that Health Secretary designee Andrea Palm exceeded her authority. The Evers administration argued the state law gives Palm and the executive branch broad authority to quickly enact emergency measures to control disease. Now, according to the latest Marquette Law School poll, a majority of Wisconsin voters supported Safer at Home. Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, says the Supreme Court's ruling puts politics before science. But Assembly Republican Joe Sanfilippo, speaking before the court's ruling, says the governor's one-size-fits-all plan isn't logical. He believes science falls in favor of Republicans.
The partisan decision by our state Supreme Court to side with partisan Republicans in our state legislature and try to override science is frankly a failure of law. It's also an economic failure, and it's a catastrophe for public health in our state. The moment we stop listening to what doctors and researchers tell us about this coronavirus is the moment when we become more at risk.
We now have 60 days worth of data that tells us exactly who the vulnerable populations are and where the high-risk areas are. And all of our decisions should be made based on the data that we have collected.
Republicans have been working to limit Governor Evers' power since he took office in 2018, just weeks before Republican Governor Scott Walker left office. The legislature adopted a set of rules limiting the governor's power over economic development, lawsuits, and administrative rules. And remember, Republicans recently sued when Governor Evers tried to stop in-person voting during the April election because of the coronavirus pandemic. He said it wasn't safe for in-person voting. That, too, went to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And in that case, the Supreme Court also sided with Republicans. We are live in Menominee Falls. Amy DuPont, Fox 6 News.
All right, Amy, thank you for that. The Wisconsin Department of